Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of our project reviews, and today we'll be talking about another blockbuster launch that's happening right in the heart of the Marina Bay area. This is One Marina Gardens by Kingsport, which we'll be previewing on the 29th of March. So this is by far one of the hardest development that I've tried to sell, because every time when I talk about One Marina Gardens, the clients will actually say, hey, this area all lose money one. Which is true to a certain extent, and in fact, it has been featured as one of the most unprofitable condos in 2024. But not to worry, because I've done a lot of in-depth research into this area, and I've shortlisted three main reasons as to why the properties around this area do not make money, or in fact lost so much money. In addition to these three reasons as to why the properties around this area do not make money, I will also be sharing my honest opinion at the end of the video as to whether I will actually personally buy into this project, and also what will be the number of units sold at the end of the launch day. So do stay tuned to the end of the video. If you're new to this channel, my name is Dexter, and I do project reviews like this to help clients shortlist the best project to enter based on numbers and statistics. If you are constantly on the lookout for the best property deals, fire sales, floor plans, price lists, do consider joining my SG Property Lobang channel, where I'll be sharing all this information as soon as I get it firsthand from the developers. Without much further ado, let's jump right in. So the first common reason which I found out among the properties that lost money was the timing at which they entered the market, or the timing which they bought the unit at. So this can be further broken down into either they bought it at the developer sale or as a sub-sale slash resale. If you look at this article by HBlock, which talks about the most unprofitable condo in 2024, there was a unit in the sale which was highlighted. So this talks about how a buyer lost close to 1.16 million, okay, when he actually sold the unit. But in actual fact, if we actually take closer look at this unit, this is actually on the 59 story. I actually blanked out the unit number, but you can actually search it out on the caveat. So this buyer that, or rather this seller that actually lost $1.16 million is actually a third owner. Okay, so the first buyer, he actually bought in 2004, and he made a profit of 1.85 million when he sold it in 2010. However, the buyer who bought it in 2010 managed to earn a further 700,000 before selling to this third buyer who bought in 2011. So this owner who actually suffered a loss of 1.16 million was not a first, neither was he a second owner. He was in fact the third owner, where the two buyers in front of him has already profited close to $3 million. The article also talks about how there was another record-breaking loss in the same development of $2.3 million. So same thing, I did my digging, I actually saw this unit that fit the same criteria as well. And again, it was not the first owner, which means that they did not buy in from the developer. In fact, this was a sub-sale. He bought in at $2,950 per square foot in 2007. And at that point of time, it was 151% higher than the average price. So these two case studies are a reflection of a majority of the owners who actually lost money in the Marina Bay properties. That they were not the first owners, they were either the second or the third owner that bought in a sub-sale or resale. If I actually pull out all the transactions from 2005 all the way to March 2025, in the last 20 years, there was a total of 1,152 profitable transactions as compared to only 235 unprofitable transactions. That is less than 20% of the entire development in an area where it's dominated mostly by foreigners. However, does it necessarily mean that if I were to buy direct from the developer, it will mean that I will make profits or at least not lose any money? So let's take a look at the third case study, which is Marina One Residences. This TOP in 2017 and is the newest property in the Marina Bay area. Despite buying directly from developer, these owners still suffered significant losses because they overpaid. And how do we determine whether the price was overpaid at that point of time? We compare to other similar properties that were launching at the same period in the same region as well. In the same region, I mean the RCR region, which is the rest of Core Central region. So Marina 1, the one bidders in 2014 cost up to 1.81 million, while a project such as Commonwealth Towers, also in the RCR region, costs only 732,000. This is more than 2 times the price premium to enter into the Marina Bay area. Similarly, a two-bidder costs up to 2.68 million, while it costs only 1 million to enter the same two-bidder in Commonwealth Towers. The three bidders at Marina 1 transacted up to 3.89 million, while Commonwealth Towers three bidders were only doing about 1.77 million. So if I were to compare at the same point of time in 2014 when Marina 1 launched, the price gap as compared to the other RCR properties such as Commonwealth Towers and even Skyview was more than 2 times the price premium. So this is excessive even though the buyers were buying directly from the developers. As compared to today, One Marina Gardens will be starting from very attractive prices provided your queue number is very good. If you take a look at the one bidders in the resale market, One Marina is transacting about 1.5 all the way to 1.9, as compared to One Marina Gardens which is starting from 1.16. For the two bidders in the resale market in Marina Bay, they are transacting as high as 2.7 million, which can get you a three bidder here at One Marina Gardens. So the benefit of entering One Marina Garden is that it is a GFA harmonized project, meaning that the unit sizes are smaller, but they no longer take into account the aircon ledges, which means that you're paying for what you're actually using. So the third common reason which I spotted among the properties that lost money was because of the layouts. So if you take a look at the layouts for the sale two bedrooms, they do not have a balcony. Instead, they have planter boxes and bay windows, which was considered trendy at that point of time, but a waste of space in today's market. The three bedrooms at the sale also comes with very weird layouts. They are not regular, not squarish, which makes it hard for your furniture placement. So I serve a fair share of resale buyers in the resale market. So the very big objection is always the size of the common bedrooms, whether they can accommodate a queen size bed. At One Marina Gardens, all your common bedrooms will be able to fit a queen size bed minimally. So we have finally reached the third reason as to why the Marina Bay properties actually lost so much money. And in fact, I don't think any of the other agents have actually talked about this. This is after hours and hours of research, and I thought that this actually made a lot of sense. If you found this video helpful so far, do help me to like, share and subscribe so that I can reach out to more buyers like yourself who are trying to make an informed decision when buying a property in Singapore. The third reason is because of the buyer profile in the core central region, specifically in the Marina Bay area. So traditionally, the core central region were predominantly purchased by foreigners. But in recent time, due to the ABSD of 60%, this has actually caused a lot of the foreign buyers to actually avoid buying into properties in Singapore. So if you actually take a look in 2015, 2016, 2017, the foreigner purchase in the core central region were more than 20%. It was close to 35% in 2018 before slowly dipping in 2019. Generally, the foreigners make up about 20% of the purchases in the core central region. However, after the implementation of the ABSD, this actually dropped to about 11% in 2020 and a further 10% in 2024. For example, 14.2% of the owners in the sale were foreigners, 18.2% in Marina Bay residences, and 30% at Marina 1 residences were owned by foreigners. As compared to properties that were launched after the ABSD, so if we take a look at Union Square, it's only 5% foreigners, and Waterhouse 8% foreigners. So how does buyer profile even affect the prices in the core central region? Two reasons. Prior to the implementation of property measures such as the ABSD and seller stamp duty, core central properties were highly speculative. This means that the buyers could buy and sell without any restrictions. So you see properties making $1 million in less than a year. At the same time, you also see foreigners who decide to buy a property instead of renting a property because it made more financial sense. However, when these foreigners actually leave Singapore, they often have to liquidate their properties in the shortest time possible, and that also means selling it at a loss, or at least that's what we see on paper. In actual fact, this might not be the case. Foreigners who bought properties in Singapore could also be a form of currency protection. So what do I mean by this? Let's take the Rupiah and this recent unprofitable transaction at Marina 1 as an example. So this unit was bought in 2020 at 3.8 mil and sold just this year for 3.4 mil. If I were to actually convert this into the Indonesian rupiah, it was actually bought for about 41 billion in August 2020, but sold for 42 billion just this year. This translates to about 56,000 Sing dollars in profit. And of course, if he's staying there, there's no rent collectible. But if he's actually buying this to rent out, this is excluding all the rents that he's getting over the years. There you have it. These are the 3 factors in common that I picked out among the properties that actually lost money around the Marina Bay area. Again, this video is meant to be short and succinct and to touch on the pointers that are not commonly mentioned by a lot of the agents. If you want a further in-depth as to the projected price appreciation as well as the rental yield, do reach out to me and I'll do a full presentation for you. If you are keen in this project and you're wondering what is the magic number or the safe entry price, in my opinion, it will be anything around the 3000 PSF or lower if possible. For those who are familiar, you will know how I derive at this number. So first up, looking at the break-even price of 2361, if I add on a 20% profit margin, it will bring us to 2008 PSF. With a 5% markup for GFA harmonization, we are looking about 2009 per square foot. The second way, which I used to double check, and I've done this for the previous project, which came out to be actually quite accurate, would be the lease buyback or the lease countback. So taking the sale for example, the highest PSF transacted was about 2003, and this is a 17-year-old project. In general, we prorate about $50 per square foot per year. This means we add on a $850 per square foot. So 850 plus 2003 per square foot, this means it's about 3002 PSF. So anything that's hovering around 3000 PSF or below 3000 PSF will be a very safe entry price. Last but not least, my honest opinion on launch day, it will most likely be less than 50% sold, around 40 to 45%. In my opinion, will I ever consider this project? To be honest, yes, if you are looking for rental yield, but maybe not if you are looking for capital appreciation, because for capital appreciation, it's always safe to look into an area where there are existing HDBs or even BTOs that will look to upgrade into your property. Once again, this is Dexter. If you enjoyed this episode of One Marina Gardens, do help me to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you at the next episode.